Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And it's time for a Tuesday night slate. We got 7 games to choose from. In this one, we're taking a look at the Magic, the restless Magic, taking on the Portland Trailblazers in Portland. Also got another game video and our player props up for you, so make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Also want you to head to thelines.com. That's where you can check out all of the great written content we're putting up for you guys all season long, and use the odds finder tool on there. Make sure you're getting the best juice back that all these U.S. sports books are offering you guys. Nate, let's go ahead and jump into this little slate and then talk Blazers and Magic.
Yeah, it opens with Detroit plus 12 at Philly. There's a chance Joel Embiid returns tonight, and Philly just handled Detroit on the road. Thunder right now plus 5 at Miami. That could shift because Miami is listing everybody as questionable per usual. Hornets plus 8 at the Raptors. The other game we break down, Cleveland minus 3 at Utah in Donovan Mitchell's return there. The Suns without Paul, Booker, maybe without Ayton too, are plus 12 at the Warriors. Steph Curry might come back. The Mavs are plus 1 at the Clippers, sort of up in the air on Luka and Paul George's status, so we're not going to talk that one without knowing that. And then, yeah, Orlando plus 7.5 here on a back-to-back in Portland. The total is 230. Tough total, I guess. But I do look at Portland's team total at 118.5. While high, I think very much attainable. Orlando is obviously a rebuilding team. They shouldn't really be effective by zero rest, considering how young they are and how deep they are in the front court. But they just haven't come with it. The last 4 back-to-backs for them, giving up at least 121 to Toronto, to Detroit, to Memphis and Atlanta. Memphis on the road, I should add. These are not teams that you necessarily expect to light it up. But Portland at home has been able to light it up pretty consistently. They just haven't played at home. They've literally 4 home games since November. And now they get 6 of their next 7 at home. This is their easiest matchup. They get Cleveland, and then they get back-to-back Dallas games later in the week at home. Their last 6, though, when they have played at home, scoring 125. Pace goes up to 101.3. We're talking 52, 42, 81 splits as a team. Obviously, they score at all 3 levels. There's no weakness here. There's not a lot of things to point out for Orlando gives up more on the perimeter versus down low. They do have good 3-point defense. But Orlando, what they don't have is guards. Guards with experience or really guards with defensive chops. And so you could look at Lillard and Anthony Simons as potential blow-up candidates, of course. I mean, Dame's prop is up at 29 points at home. They've won 3 of their last 4, and the loss came without Dame. So, I mean, in basically a throwaway game. This is a good matchup against Orlando, of course. The question is, will they cover, right? 7.5 points. It's a little scary, but, Portland is 10-5 against the spread at home, winning by 6 points per game. When they're home favorites, they're winning by 9 points per game, 6-4 against the spread. If you are worried about it, I think you can tease the total down to 226 or, tease another game on a 7-game slate here. And get Portland at 3.5. I mean, I think they almost certainly win this game. They've lost 3 straight on the road. Like I said, the schedule has been tough in terms of them not getting to play at home. It's a great place to play, and then they've been lighting it up at home. And they do have their guys here. Nurkic, GP2 are both probable. So obviously a superior team in a superior rest situation.
Yeah, and there's some sort of distorted numbers for Orlando, I would say, in terms of their against the spread stuff, their trend stuff. It's they're basically around 500 in terms of covering the spread in sort of the exact same situation as this one, where they're on the road, they're at a rest disadvantage, they're the underdog, blah blah blah, but they're losing all their average margin of defeat is 7-8 points in all of these situations. They're losing by a lot, and they are susceptible to getting blown out. Even if they do make like a brief comeback like they did against the Grizzlies, they still lose by 8 points in that game. And that's sort of been a bit of a trend on the road for them, despite that one. The thing that I think stands out for everybody with them on the road is that win against the Dubs. That was, I think, probably the surprising game of that weekend, where they won by 14 in Golden State, holding the Dubs to 101 points and really held Jordan Poole in check, etc. The exact opposite of last night. Like, De'Aaron Fox did whatever he wanted whenever he wanted, as did Domantas Sabonis, and then as a result, Keegan Murray's getting wide open threes, Malik Monk is getting wide open shots. So, I mean, the way that those two guys controlled them last night is pretty reminiscent of another solid point guard in Dame Lillard, with even more of a three-point threat, probably a better running mate at shooting guard in terms of Anthony Simons, and then a passing big man in Yusuf Nurkic that I think will also give them a ton of trouble down low. So I think this is a game that, you know, it's kind of ripe for the Magic to get blown out almost. I think one of the key stats that I kind of realized a little bit late too is, if Portland's getting fast break points, then Orlando's done. And Orlando doesn't really get back on defense. They allow the fifth most fast break points in the league. And Portland, they're at home specifically, number 2 in terms of the amount of fast break points they're putting up. They're definitely running and gunning at home, where they put up that 118 points per game versus the 108 on the road. And then, yeah, that pace is like 3 possessions more per 100 at home than on the road, which is huge. And the reason that, you know, everything is just up and inflated for them on offense at home. They're also shooting 61% true shooting percentage is good for top 5 at home versus the 57 true shooting that they're shooting on the road from all over. And obviously that takes into account where you're shooting from, etc. And so, yeah, the 14 threes on 40% at home, it's just tough to be like, is that going to be what they do here? Because they played twice at home in the last, 3 weeks or whatever it's been. So you're a little bit skeptical, but it's a play. They're healthy. This is a time, which is crucial as well. This is a time where they're coming back home, where they're 10-5 against the spread, and 9-6 straight up in these situations, and against a team that they have handled pretty handily because of I think in part because of the way that they play and giving them problems, like you said, guard play, fast pace, getting back. It's hard for 4, 6, 10 dudes to get back to help Markelle Fultz in that transition defense, which is why it's bottom 5 in terms of their transition D this year. So I think Portland knows that, and I think the fact that they play at a faster pace at home and get more fast break points, like a lot more fast break points, shows you something for how they're going to play tonight. And that's a problem for this Orlando team. I don't really feel anything about the total, because I think, like you said, tough total. Like, it's right on in terms of about 230. If anything, I might go a smidge under because I'm scared of Orlando coming along for the ride. But if you think that those fast break points are coming in droves for Portland, they're scoring close to 120, in which case I still feel like it's going to be somewhat of a blowout, because I'm worried about Orlando's ability to come along with them. And I'm not really afraid of the 7 points. I still think that's my favorite bet of this game.
Yeah, I mean, you're right on with the 6'10 guys getting back, and also them making rotations in the half court. And that's why we saw Sacramento last night, 39 assists, 23 threes at 50%, just completely carving them up. I mean, once there's more film on these guys, I mean, it's been a while now, but it's just a good coach with a balanced offense can easily carve up this team. And don't forget, Chauncey Billups, played in the aughts and 90s when there were a lot of big lineups out there, and he knows exactly how to call out a slow-footed big and get his guys good shots. So, I mean, yeah, Portland's offense, we do expect to go off here. That's why we're looking at the team total. And if you think they're going to score 120, you're probably, I think, maybe leaning towards the over. But yeah, like we could see Orlando just call it early here, like they did in their last game. The one thing to look at is, though, that Portland does give up the 5th most paint points at home. So Paolo, Franz Wagner, and company should still be getting enough points, I think, to get over. But I think we both just like Portland to get back on track here as they come back home.
Yeah, that is what I like, and I like that them to continue to play out. Like, I guess my game theory that I'm telling you here is, the fact that I expect them to score, you might think over. But with Orlando, I'm worried about their offense coming along big time, like to the tune of 106 points per game on the road this season, right? With just 10 made threes at 33%, something that they have needed as of late in terms of the amount of points they're scoring off three. They are getting to the free throw line about the 11th most, but Portland at home only allowing 22 free throw attempts a game, which is good for like top 12 in the league or so. And yeah, road 8 and 9 to the over for them. Games averaging about 218 for Orlando because of that 106 that they're scoring. So even if, Damon Company put up that 118, 120 that we think they can, I don't think that Orlando can get to 110 tonight. We'll see. Maybe they're going to pull something out that is a bit surprising, as there's been a few of those sort of random moments that they kind of go off and you're surprised. You see Paolo score 30 and Franz score 24, and that's the case there. But with Jeremy Grant there as well, a solid, defender, that is a huge reason why, Portland is defending the wing so much better this year, not to mention the full season of having Josh Hart. So I don't think it's a great matchup for Orlando at all, as it hasn't been for a while. And Damon Company can handle business pretty easily. So 7 points for me is my favorite bet in this one. And that is all the time we have for you guys. So make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us. And until we see you next, happy betting.